first things first, I think you have to get people who are better than you. And this is a big learning at Google. As a manager, you don't manage.
Well said.
You get out of the way. And then you intervene when they hit a roadblock and be there for them in the moments that matter.
When you're building and scaling large teams in an environment as complex and as innovative, ever evolving as Google, how do you tread the path?
I think people join a mission, join a purpose, join a broader goal when they're joining a company. And it's the job of the leader to create that meaning. You are groomed in an environment which is very business-like. So I think what is lacked is a little bit of humility to unlearn. Because in tomorrow's world, we don't know where the world will head, especially with technology in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So the only thing that is required is that humility to say that, hey, I don't know, I need help, because that's the only skill that will help us grow. And AI used the right way can profoundly change humanity.
Right.
But if it is used the wrong way, or if it is in the hand of wrong actors, it can create a lot of harm.
Correct.
And in lack of regulation, no one is stopping you from self-regulating.
Correct.
So putting the necessary checks and balances in place, being very clear, that's where the purpose and the mission becomes very critical.
Hello and welcome to ISP Presents Leaders Unplugged, a very special show where we have exciting conversations with leaders that will leave you inspired. My name is Radhika Kohli. I'm currently a student of PGP at the Indian School of Business, and I have with me today a very special guest, Mr. Arijit Sarker. Mr. Arijit is the Vice President of the Google Technical Services Ads team for Google's advertising business and operations. His team's mission is to power exceptional ad experience for every customer, every time. Arijit's global team is spread across 30+ sites and serves millions of advertisers across the world. He joined Google back in 2006 and has held various VP roles across operations, sales, and client servicing. He sponsors programs like the DigiPivot, India-based equity initiative, to upskill historically underrepresented groups, especially in digital marketing. Outside of work, he's a co-founder in a non-profit organization called Ishwa that is run by his wife and that provides after-school support to underprivileged children and has a passion for scaling businesses if you can't tell already. Beyond work, he enjoys wildlife photography, his weekend runs, and spending time with his 2 daughters. Thank you so much for coming to Leaders Unplugged, sir. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Radhika, and thank you for the opportunity.
Great. So there is so much to learn from you, but let me start. Right from your business school, you entered the consumer durable sector and then went to the tech world, where you've spent almost 20 years now. So can you maybe speak a little bit about your journey?
Sure. So let me step back a little bit. So, I'm an engineer by training, like many of us, and I would say an engineer by heart. But then back in the day when I did engineering way back, I graduated in 94. But back in the day, the type of work that we were doing in engineering in India wasn't that inspiring. So that's wherein the advertising bug hit me. And then I thought I'll pursue my B school and went to Narsee Monjee in Bombay. And post that, and I don't know how many folks do it today, but our the basic idea was to get and understand India. And the best way to understand India is to go for an FMCG or a consumer durable brand and go into upcountry sales. So believe it or not, I was selling suitcase on behalf of VIP luggage in what used to be Western UP, now Uttarakhand and all of that, and Delhi. So that's wherein we started. And then I think 2-3 years down the road, we saw the internet slowly setting in. We had only 30 million internet users in the country. And that's wherein I was using a job portal. To be honest, I was applying for HUL for a sales job. And this job portal wanted to hire me. And that's wherein my internet journey started. I spent almost 6 years with the internet startup, got to a listing. This is a Malaysia-based company, Southeast Asian, called jobstreet.com. And then Google was just setting up its operations in India.
Right.
And I was one of the first few managerial hires.
Okay.
And thereafter, I've been busy with Google for almost 20 years.
Interesting. And were there any key pivotal moments that have shaped the way you are today and the leader that you've become?
On the hindsight, I'll sound very wise, but
Of course.
I think the pivotal moment was, I would say the first one, taking that risk to go into upcountry India.
Right.
Coming from the comforts of Bombay and all of that. Most of my friends were in consulting or in financial services and stuff like that. That helped me, kind of dealing with uncertainty and ambiguity and built a lot of resilience, which I think has helped me over a period. You don't think, that time when it happens to you at the moment, you feel, why is this? Why I have to go through this and others are having a cushy job.
Yeah.
But then that helped me build resilience, and that was, I think, very pivotal. The second pivotal moment is, I think, seeing that power of the internet, because when I applied for a job through an internet portal, I saw the huge opportunity of connecting many to many.
Correct.
And I said, this thing will change the world. So it's better to be in an internet company rather than any other company. And we went through a dot-com bust. We went through, significant learning in terms of turning around a startup.
Right.
That also helped tremendously in terms of how do you turn around a company and how do you become profitable and then finally list.
Yeah.
And then at Google, I think I entered in the middle of the internet S-curve, but going through the mobile S-curve, right? And embracing the smartphone, many people wrote off Google, right? You're a desktop-based search company. You will not get get mobile right. And we went through some really challenging times, and then we got there. And now, super excited to be part of the AI S-curve, which is again going to profoundly shift businesses.
So you also mentioned something about teams, and I've always wondered as a young professional, and I've discussed this with my peers as well, how do people actually lead such huge teams? I mean, I've at the max led 9 or 10 people, and I know it's a very difficult job. And you are in a rare position where you're leading global team right from India. So can you talk about that experience? How do you actually practically lead such huge teams?
Well, scale, of course, you can't do it alone. So when you have large teams, you have to have great leaders. And I fundamentally believe whether it's the team, when I was managing, say, 10 people, or whether now I manage over 3,000 people, first things first, I think you have to get people who are better than you, right? So hire people who are better than you, hire leaders who are better than you, so they do a great job.
Right.
Your job is to, and this is a big learning at Google, and this is the fundamental philosophy is, as a manager, you don't manage.
Well said.
You get out of the way.
Right.
So you hire them, you understand, you set expectations, you set the goals and all of that, get out of the way. And usually people, if you hire it right, they're very self-actuated and motivated and get things done.
Yeah.
And then you intervene when they hit a roadblock or wherein they need a support. So have an oversight in terms of asking them when they require your help,
right,
and be there for them in the moments that matter. Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that if you do, it's scalable. And you can do it. And you have to also understand the cultural nuances, especially when you're managing a global team. You have to understand the cultural nuances, the connections, and you have to meet in person.
Right.
So I started getting a lot of the global responsibility in the middle of COVID.
Okay.
And that was pretty challenging because, how much you can do over video conferencing.
Online, yeah.
So it was challenging, but in person, there's no substitute for in person.
And they always say that all good leaders have a philosophy that they follow. So you've talked about leadership, but is there any philosophy that you have imbibed? And when you're building and scaling large teams, especially high-performing teams, in an environment as complex and as innovative, ever-evolving as Google, how do you tread the path?
I think people join a mission, join a purpose, join a broader goal,
right,
when they're joining a company. And it's the job of the leader to create that meaning. So every company is in the purpose of certain things.
Yeah.
But creating that meaning for the individual is very, very critical. And that, I think, is the leader's job, number one. So we call it the purpose.
Done.
I would say the second thing is enabling the vision on a continuous basis for, let's say, next 3 years. In today's world, you can't even have a 5-year vision. If you have 3 years,
Yeah.
that's great.
Right.
But continually envisioning the future and helping people, connecting them to that future and bringing them along is very critical, because then they don't not only join a purpose, but they have clarity on what the future looks like. And that creates an inspiration, a motivation to work better.
So I recently met a friend, she's from public policy, and she mentioned how tech often moves faster than public policy, like policy in general. And although she's from the background, I kind of agree with her. So my question is, from your vantage point, how can leaders balance the urge to innovate with the responsibility to safeguard?
See, if it is the other way around, innovation won't happen much, right? If you regulate everything, where would be there space for innovation? So it will be always the other way around.
The other way around, yeah.
So what we call as, we should give the space for innovation to happen, but at the same time take a very balanced view on what should be the regulation around it. And let's we are going through it now for AI.
Absolutely.
Like, AI is a very, very powerful tool, very powerful tool, but it is also fraught with some degree of risks. So unless we are very clear that the right AI used the right way can profoundly change humanity.
Right.
But if it is used the wrong way, or if it is in the hand of wrong actors, it can create a lot of harm. So I think the realization as a company to do that, and in lack of regulation, no one is stopping you from self-regulating. So putting the necessary checks and balances in place, being very clear, that's where the purpose and the mission becomes very critical. What do you stand for? And how much do you care for security, privacy, transparency? So all of that has to be done by the corporation themselves. And of course, over a period, governments and others learn from all of you, and governments are very open. They bring in all the stakeholders, and then they frame the policies around it, so that others can also regulate with the same benchmarks.
And is there any non-obvious or unconventional leadership skill that we all should at ISB have?
I think the one thing, it's not unconventional, but I think I see a little bit lack of it from the B school students of late, is, you are groomed in an environment which is very business-like, both at your job that you're doing before and the corporation. So I think what is lacked is a little bit of humility to unlearn and relearn and learn more. Because in tomorrow's world, we don't know where the world will head, especially with technology in the next 3 years. So the only thing that is required is that humility to say that, hey, I don't know, I need help, and I need to learn something new. Because that's the only skill that will help us grow. And I sometimes feel, especially when you get, get more experience, ego takes over humility, right? And I think that's the point. I'm still learning. With 30 years of experience, I'm still, I say myself, I'm still a struggling leader. So I think that purposefully brings in a point that there is a lot more to learn rather than have my ego come in the way.
And like you were mentioning AI, you have had a lot of experience in tech and almost, I think, 19 years in Google. I want to understand from your point of view, how can a country like India exclusively, because it's growing so much and at a rapid pace, how can we leverage AI for good and for growth?
And India is great at adopting technology. You've seen it with the smartphones, you've seen it with now AI. So I think people are very open to adopt new things. I think that the thing is, how intentional are you in terms of enabling overall societal growth and enabling overall, how do you uplift the economy? So I look at it in broadly 2 or 3 areas. So one is economic impact, like for our aspiration by 2028 to be a $1 trillion digital economy. I think AI will play a very, very critical role in enabling that.
Absolutely.
And I think it is a force multiplier on top of what all we have built today. The second aspect, I would say, is the impact it will have, like broadly speaking, the 3 areas that we think AI can have a significant impact, which is needed for the country. One is agriculture. Today, it is still a lot less data-driven and a lot more hope-driven. And how can we make it very easy, simple access to collect data, process it, connect the dots between, say, crop cycle to weather cycle to
Finally,
fertilizers and
yeah.
all of that,
Yeah.
and monitoring and all of that, and digitize that to help
Farmers and-
help
right.
farmers and the rural economy.
Correct.
The second area is education, wherein I think there is a huge opportunity given the demographic of India. How can
Absolutely.
AI really help people to learn differently?
Right.
And it might not necessarily be in the schools, but AI
Yeah.
can be a great enabler of learning.
Right, right.
And third is healthcare. Because of the population size, I think healthcare and access to quality healthcare can be enabled by AI.
Correct.
Right? And you're
Yeah.
seeing all those use cases coming in. So that's the second, I think, the societal aspect of it, so the economic and the societal. And then finally, I would say the digital public infrastructure. And
Right.
this, I would say I'm very proud as an Indian to see how the government has envisioned the digital public infrastructure and kind of opened it for players to build apps on top of
Right.
it. UPI, I've talked about GPay.
Yeah.
You're seeing ONDC coming increasingly into shape, which is the open network for digital commerce. And increasingly, you will see a lot of these coming into play as we scale.
Yeah. So, also whenever we talk about AI, there's a lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of anxiety also in people, especially students like me, because we wonder, will we be relevant in coming years? Are we skilled enough to go to the job market, and what happens after 5 years? And like you mentioned, even if we know what's going to happen after 2-3 years, that's good enough. So my next question, if we zoom out, what are the 2 or 3 capabilities you think that aspiring leaders, especially in the tech industry, in the tech world, should be equipped with, and what will be the demands in the next coming years? I had a question of 5 years. I will scrap that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years, I also don't know.
Right.
And many people ask me question like, okay, after so many years at Google, what keeps you? It's like AI. I don't know how AI will develop and transform
Right.
roles and business and processes and business models.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part to be in. So I think first things first, I think comfort with ambiguity needs to go up significantly. Right? No longer you will have set career paths. So you have to be very comfortable in jumping in head on without knowing what holds for you in the next 1 year or 2 years. And why? Because I think the learning that you'll have in that 1 to 2 years will shape you for the next opportunity and the next opportunity. So that's one, the comfort with ambiguity. The second one I would say is, which we talked a little bit, is ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I think that's going to be a fundamental capability. And then the third thing I would say is a lot more around, soft skills, right? Soft skills becomes very, very important, right? Rather than the hard skills, because hard skills will keep changing. But the soft skills around empathy, around creativity, around thinking, original thinking is going to be valued a lot more.
Right.
So you will not have similar roles in masses that was happening in the past,
Yes.
but a lot more different roles, very unique.
Yeah.
And the soft skill is going to be a differentiator. Of course, your ability to use AI and leverage that is going to be very critical.
Correct.
But that's your differentiator as a human being.
Right. I come from a liberal arts background, so hearing about soft skills really give me a lot
Best time to be in liberal arts.
Yeah, I mean, one would think. But what you also said about being comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty, it's a difficult thing. Let me tell you, as a student also,
Absolutely.
we don't know what's going to come next. And I remember when I was also coming to ISB, they were like, what's your 5-year plan? And of course, we all make these fancy answers, but we're like sweating. We don't mean it. Will it happen? But that's interesting. And my next question is, are there any structural bets that Google is making that may seem bold right now, but that could potentially disrupt or change the way we look at future?
See, as a company, we are known for taking some bold bets.
Absolutely.
I'll give you one example. I joined Google in 2006, and I think in 2007, the first experiment in Stanford happened around what was called autonomous driving. And in 2009, we set up our first project inside Google. And I come from an electronics and instrumentation background, so control theory in engineering and all that is very well embedded in me. And I was wondering, how can you make a car without a driver? What amount of signal that you need to process real-time data processing and control that you need to execute to make it happen.
Right.
And experiment started. We were, and I personally, I was very clued into what is the progress and all that.
Yeah.
Fast forward that now, it is a reality. It happened before the AI, before the age of AI,
Right.
but it got accelerated with AI, a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I took my first trip last month in a Waymo car.
Okay.
And that was kind of an aha moment for me.
It's happened.
Yeah, in my lifetime, it has happened.
Right.
So fast forward, I think if you see the work that we are doing with AlphaFold, isomorphic labs and all of that, the fundamental process of drug discovery might become very
Disruptive.
enhanced and faster.
Okay.
And maybe a cure for cancer might be in reach in our own lifetime.
Right.
So these are things that makes you really inspired, that what you thought as a kind of a dream,
Too far-fetched.
is
now here.
in the realms of scientific fiction is
Correct.
becoming a reality.
Right.
And I think that's what keeps us excited, about the future.
So, sir, you've also been involved with ISP over the years. So, what can you say about Google's and ISP's partnership and the work they've been doing together?
Sure. I think one of the reasons we chose Hyderabad for Google was, the availability of education institutions like IIIT Hyderabad and ISP.
Oh.
And this was in late 2004. I was not there, but Sheryl Sandberg, who used to be part of Google, was involved in that decision. And so we started our partnership pretty early in 2006, and I was involved in the first batch of hiring that was done from ISB in 2007. A lot of them have become professionals, at Google and leaders at Google. And, over the years, we have found great B School graduates joining us, managing a lot of our operations, product innovation, engineering teams. And then I think what really became interesting as ISB grew and we grew is we started seeing a lot of collaboration opportunities to also influence the ecosystem. So things like, for example, DG Pivot and others, we saw the opportunity to have the educational partner being ISP and the practical mentoring being given by Google for the larger ecosystem. So I think this is the value of being in a city wherein you have like-minded educational institutes that really helps us accelerate a whole bunch of not only within but also outside initiatives.
Interesting. And we're so proud to be associated. There's one final question. In the spirit of Leaders Unplugged, is there any message that you would like to leave with the ISP cohort?
This is a message I received when I graduated in Narsimonji. This was 1998. And I think it's still true. So they said that when you get out of the college, leave your ego and your dirty jeans behind. It's kind of true.
Noted.
But I think again, back to that point around, you're entering a very different world.
Correct.
World that is going to shift very, very fundamentally. Like when I graduated, there was no Google. Who knew I will work for Google for 20 years? Right? So that's going to happen. The company that you're going to work for 10 years from now is yet to be born. So the only way you can stay relevant is by constantly learning, being humble about where you are, and the fact that there is a lot more out there to learn and learn from other leaders. Because leadership training is no longer, just a business school alone.
Absolutely.
Right? It is day in, day out you have to do. So as long as you carry that mindset, I think you'll be tremendously successful.
Great. And thank you, sir. Our last segment is rapid fire.
Sure.
These are some surprise questions and you have to answer quickly. Okay. Is there any one tech gadget or tool that you can't live without?
True for all of us, smartphone. Everything gets done.
Okay. A book, podcast, or a thinker who has shaped the way you lead?
I would say a lot of them. I do a lot of reading, but I like Simon Sinek a lot.
Okay.
Very, very precise, very, very practical advice.
Noted. Startups or corporates? What excites you more and why?
Startup gives you 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Corporates give you 1 to 10 or 10 to 100 in my case.
Okay. And any one leadership mantra that you come back to, especially in tough moments?
As a leader, anxiety is natural, but the cause of anxiety you have to dissect and see what are the controllables, what are the non-controllables. Focus on the controllables and don't fret on the non-controllables.
Golden words. Great. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. This is
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Radhika. And thanks a lot to ISP.
And I say this on behalf of the entire ISP community. There is so much that we're taking back from this conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. For more such conversations, please keep watching Leaders Unplugged.